some ammo and maybe heal before I went toward this Corvette. But
I thrust her down and we can't really maneuver well.
Got one of them up.
they are priority.
Already done.
Attached mines detected. Remove them.
Come on.
Material collected. Empty collectors to go to the ship.
Here with Buddy's help. Paint
That, I gotta say, that was pretty damn epic. This is Jump Space, previously known as Jump Ship. It's a cooperative PvE game set in the far-flung future where you crew a ship with up to 3 of your friends to fight a mechanized foe who's taken over the universe. Think something like a cross between Helldivers and Sea of Thieves, and you've kinda got the direction they're going for. The formula of Jump Space is deceptively simple. You just group up with your friends, pick a mission, fight your way through enemy ships while keeping your own ship from falling apart, land at the objective, push through hostile forces, and extract with everybody's head on their shoulders, and then you profit. But in practice, it's a bit more than that. What looks like a pretty straightforward co-op loop quickly turns into an addictive blend of teamwork and chaos. Sessions swing from carefully planned maneuvers to total firefighting, literally, as your crew is scrambling around to put out blazes, repair systems, and fend off borders. For me, it's just scratching that itch that I've had for a really long time for a space game. You're not locked into piloting or boots on the ground. You can move around seamlessly between starship combat to on-foot firefights, all inside one bite-sized mission that has a clear goal, but plenty of ways to approach it. Missions themselves are also really well designed. They come in different types and lengths, each with time investment estimates that let you slot a session into your day that works for you. You can knock out a quick run or commit to something a bit more involved that'll last up to 2 hours long, and either way, you're gonna log off feeling like you've accomplished something for the day. And once you're in, each mission branches off into multiple different stages with diverging paths and places to breathe. Choosing one route might give you access to some rare materials, while the other would lead you to better weapons or some more artifacts. The catch is that each choice locks you out of the other, so your decisions will then shape the resources that you have later on when facing the toughest final stage and main objective. And each stage also carries with it its own strategizing that starts at the beginning. You start off by getting into the scanning station, which gives you a look at what's going on in the area, allowing you to scan objectives and plan out how to approach an objective without aggroing the entire enemy fleet in the area, so that you can approach from a side, pick off a few, and then work your way into the main objective or pick off some of the caches you might spot along the way. Then there are these artifacts. There are these randomized buff elements that you can place into your ship's slots to completely flip a mission on its head. Sometimes they'll give you a small edge, like a reduction to oncoming damage, but sometimes they'll also just go completely off the rails, like 150% melee damage while holding a pizza, which means that you're out there slapping aliens with pizza while your buddy's back making beer in the ship to give you a bit of a stat buff. But the real star of Jump Space has got to be the ship that you fly. You start off with a large hero ship, and later on you can unlock a smaller hull that's better suited for solo players or smaller groups. So yeah, you can play the game solo, but I'd say that it's probably best played with a group of friends. That seems to be the way it's been designed. Whatever you're flying though, the ship feels alive because every system in Jump Space is physicalized. Shields, thrusters, weapons, reactors, all of them can be damaged in combat and have to be repaired if they go down. Fires will spread, and if you don't put them out, radiation leaks will threaten engineering, and before long, somebody's out on the hull and repairing things with a repair tool and praying that a stray round doesn't hit them from an enemy ship. And inside, it's just as hectic. Crew rotates between piloting, turrets, scanning, and engineering, or abandon their stations altogether to run around doing damage control. There's no fixed classes in this game, so anyone can do anything depending on the moment, and usually everyone has to. Some of the most memorable moments that I had was when half my squad was sprinting through smoke-filled corridors and juggling extinguishers and repair kits just to keep the ship from, breaking apart mid-battle and failing the mission altogether. But you don't just have to stick around on the inside of the ship. You can always step out onto the outside of the hull and literally start shooting at enemy ships as they pass by with rocket launchers, railguns, or even the basic handheld FPS weapons that you find as you progress through the game. Or if you're really daring, you can leap from the ship and literally jetpack across the space and intercept an oncoming ship, grapple onto it, and blow it up with your own hands, which can be extra fun and yield some cool modules if you're able to loot them from corvettes or even smaller gunships. Just don't forget to get back to your ship to repel any boarders or mines that may have attached themselves in the course of battle, which does happen quite a lot. At some point each mission, though, you're gonna have to head planetside or jump aboard a derelict space hulk or infiltrate an enemy capital ship. And that's where Jump Space shifts gears into surprisingly solid FPS territory. Weapons variety is pretty strong with SMGs, assault rifles, bolt-action rifles, and heavy support weapons as you might expect. But then the artifacts that you're able to deploy on your ship actually carry over to ground combat as well, just like they work in space. One of my favorites actually turns friendly fire into healing. It completely changes how you coordinate in a firefight, trust me. Separate from artifacts are also deployables. These are items that you can equip and drop mid-mission: shield bubbles, healing stations, damage boosting fields, and even more. You can either get them by printing them on your 3D printer aboard your ship with collected materia, or stumble across them in loot caches. They're just another facet of making each session more interesting and allowing you to have some tactical options when you know you're gonna have to face off against a group of enemies at a certain choke point. And then there's movement. Grappling hooks and jetpacks aren't just gimmicks, they actually give you a pretty good mobility option when you need to take flight and reposition to get a better shot at an enemy. Because some enemies actually do require a bit of strategy with your teammates. Take a flying elite that shields its front section from all oncoming firepower. One crewmate has to keep its attention while the other flanks from behind to kill it. It's this combination of adaptability and coordination that keeps ground combat feeling pretty sharp and rewarding as one of you is frantically trying to slot in a battery somewhere to open a door or bring back some valuable cargo to throw onto the ship. And when the dust all settles and you're heading back to the hangar, that's where Jump Space shifts into progression mode. Each mission has its own little self-contained economy. You start each run with an empty tank of materia and build it up by destroying ships and collecting their debris over the course of each stage. Material then becomes your construction currency mid-mission, allowing you to replace shields, repair modules, and upgrade as you go through each stage. But when you finish, any excess can be converted into materia ingots, which then feeds into a long-term upgrade system for your ship. This dual economy makes every run feel meaningful, whether you're just scraping by or bringing home a mountain of resources. And upgrades aren't just flat numbers. Early on, you'll unlock alternative systems that completely reshape your ship. Take reactors, for example. You can swap between solid states and split reactor designs, which changes the whole engineering power grid layout, changing how you gotta Tetris slot everything in, where some stuff can be shielded, some stuff can't, and maybe some things can't be equipped at all, requiring you strategize about what systems you want to protect with those shielded slots so that vital systems like your power plant or engines don't go down mid-battle, leaving you stranded and ready to be exploded by the enemy or boarded and just killed the long and slow way. It's clever, it's tactile, and it makes the whole thing feel way more strategic. But everything is not absolutely perfect in the game. As much as I've enjoyed it, there are a few things that I do think need some attention. For example, mission variety is pretty decent, but I worry that it could get a bit repetitive without more factions, biomes, or objectives down the line. Ship progression, though fun mechanically, also doesn't show much visually. I'd like to see some upgrades reflected in the actual interior and exterior designs. The hangar also feels quite a bit underutilized. Right now you can only configure your ship's power systems during a mission, so why not just let us set it up and prep it while we're in the hangar before we launch? Plus, it just feels cool to be able to board your ship like in the hangar while you're waiting for the next mission to start. I don't know, there's something cool and immersive about it that's hard to tell you exactly why it's important. On the FPS side of things, weapon upgrades also feel a bit limited. You can't store any of the looted weapons you bring back anywhere in your hangar. So if you drop them in your ship and forget to pick them back up again before the end of a mission, they're gone for good. So having a wall where you can save some gear between different sessions would show more progression and give players more options when planning for their next run. It might even help you equip your buddies who may not have all the good gear yet, so that they're better prepared for the run too. And lastly, customization also feels just a little bit thin. Spacesuit variety seems quite lacking with only a couple different options early game, which makes it harder to make your character really feel personal. But my biggest pain point right now is probably how mid-mission joining works at the moment. If a player disconnects, and it happens sometimes, they can't rejoin until the next stage of the mission. That's incredibly inconvenient, especially because some missions dynamically rebalance based on your group size. Some doors and panels literally require 3 or 4 people to operate, so if a person drops out, finishing that stage can become really difficult. And that really needs to change, I think, quite soon. I'd really like to see it where players can join at any stage through the mission to reinforce if you need help. But with all that said, I've actually had a blast playing Jump Space. It would be probably a bit reductive to say that the game has potential, because what's here is genuinely already fun. But if the developers can keep building on it, adding more variety, more factions, more content over the course of its early access and into the full release, then I think that they've got a shot at really creating a modern co-op classic here. It's a game that, at least for me, captures the fantasy of crewing a spaceship better than anything that I've played in recent years, blending ship sim, FPS chaos, and co-op improvisation into something really special. But what do you guys think? Have you tried out Jump Space for yourself? And if you have, what do you think of it? What are things that you really like, and what do you think that they can improve to make this an even better game going forward? Let me know down below. For what it's worth, I think $20 on Steam is a pretty good price, and you get a lot more than what I think you pay for. And as always, if you like the video, you know what to do. Hope to see you in the next one.